side. No, honey, and the broke on the years or thing like that. Hold on, still a tune in to Gullah Geechee Gwine on. I still a Queen Quet and thing like that. But this your time, I ain't there upon the Gullah Geechee Nation. It did way out on her. We are the rest of thing where we other rest of people be Gwine. And we done come in here for study, but we're in the there on this highway and thing like that. So we take a little bit of time and stop on 90 and see what they got and things like that. And see if they're not yet, but we people, but in a called Seminole and things like that out here. But in Moscow, we are in Mexico. So yes, here in Texas, our people are called the Seminoles. And we're on a journey to see if we can relocate, reconnect with them here in Tejas, Texas. And as we call them also in Mexico, the Muskogo. Same people, Gullah Geechees that came westward. So to reconnect with family, sometimes you have to journey a ways. And where better to come in Texas than right where there's a barbecue grill. Y'all know there's always some barbecue going on here in Texas. And interestingly enough, mesquite barbecue, I found out, comes from a tree called mesquite. We saw it yesterday. We're going to give you a shot of one of those in a little while so that you can see it. So I said, oh, so is that where mesquite barbecue comes from? They said, sure does, from the wood. So you know how you get that nice smoke going and everything, and sort of gets that little extra taste in there when y'all cooking up that meat, because y'all know Queen don't eat no meat and stuff like that. Y'all will understand. Comes right here from Texas, this great republic, as it was called, the state of Texas, where we are going to find out what the state of our Gullah Geechee people are that are here in this land as you journey with us on this episode of Gullah Geechee Gwine on. So come with me, children. We can't give her nothing but damn pun, but at least hopefully her the Gwine in your kitchen and start to leave it apart after you're done getting all of this. Gullah Geechee Gwine on. This is a chance that we have been waiting for a long time to make it here to Brackettville. As you see, the town has a population of only 1,740 folks. And that number is so significant because 1740 for us was also the year that marked when a lot of laws changed and things that we now call the slave codes came into existence. During that phase of time, would have been the phase of time that our people were joining with the indigenous American people on our coastline to fight back against the enslavement, against being disenfranchised. And so many of those that fought became labeled wild or exiled after the word cimarron from Spanish. They were called maroons, they were called Seminole. Yes, all of you big cowboy movie buffs that you watched all those things, the shoot 'em ups over the years. Well, the fact of the matter is there was not a Seminole nation in the beginning. It became known as that because it really was a label to let you know the people who would fight back, who were fighting for their rights, fighting to hold on to their land, fighting to hold on to the heart of who they were. So as those indigenous folks came out of the Carolinas into Georgia and then into Florida, eventually they got pushed in those battles this way, westward, and ended up here in this land. And some of those who are descendants of the Gullah Geechees that remain here in Texas live in this town, Brackettville. Now, it's going to be real interesting to actually have this family reunion after all this time. And think about it. Wow. 1740 and what it brought, and we're in 2009. What can we bring? Hunter chillin', we going to find out what's going on.
one person in every one
And everyone, one extra every time. When we do the slideshow, it'll work.
1, 2, 3.
Okay.
All right.
Outstanding. We're here in Bracketville, Texas. This is called the Seminole Indian Scout Cemetery. Some of you have read about the Seminole Negro Indian Scouts, same group of people. This is the township where many of the Gullah Geechees migrated to as they followed the path along with many of the indigenous Americans that were in Florida and came westward. Many different treaties were signed, many different treaties were broken. Some were never signed, and that was the case with our people that are here that are often referred to as the Scouts, sometimes referred to as the Afro-Seminoles, sometimes referred to as Black Seminoles. They never had treaties to say exactly what land would be theirs, and even unto today, it seems that there's a search for a land of their own. And definitely we in the Gullah Geechee Nation know that that is truly their homeland in North America. The ties and the connections that they have here are largely linked still with Fort Clark, just up the road a piece, as we would say, back on up on the coast. But it's very interesting how after all these years, even with the Scout history, from prior to Reconstruction, prior to the Civil War, they were fighting, but fighting for whom? And fighting to gain what? Because even after all these years, the U.S. government has never fully given them anything. Everything has still been a fight for their rights, for their land, for their culture, their traditions, to still try to hold on to those things. And so even to this day, there are many that rest here who have fought in just about every war that the United States has entered into. From Vietnam to World War I, World War II, the Korean War. We have headstone after headstone noting those who, just like many of the last names that are on these headstones say, the warriors. Because here in Bracketville, they see this as still warrior status. And those who really saw them for who they were, called them that, by calling them Seminole, by calling them the exiled, the wild, basically, the ones who would fight back. And so we pray that the next generation really takes back themselves to their culture, their community, their journey, back on the coast, back to where we did it, still in the Gullah Geechee Nation. We still did it in Florida. We still did it in Georgia. We still did it in Carolina. And we don't know who we are and things like that. And for truth, this shall be who the great one, or God bless, for sure, and I know man get costly. So we still are Gwine on together, and Hunter children, we glad Hunter dear for Gwine with we.